I'm saying we're sending money to somebody that we know is committing fraud. We're sending you money. Like, are you that freaking stupid? The President of the United States is authorizing bills to send money to somebody that's committing fraud. Okay. Again, there's a premise for maybe next week or the week to come. Now, here, let me jump back because I'm going to go back a couple episodes. I've said this from day one, is we have people with mental health issues. You know, obviously I'm kind of referring to suicide. We have school shootings and all this other crap, and we are sending billions. You know, we're probably flirting, that I know of, and I think I'm on the low side of this, about $70 billion that I know of to Ukraine for this war. It's probably higher. That's just the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. So $70 billion, and we're not doing anything from a federal government level to really I mean, they can say they're doing stuff, but they're not doing anything for the mental health crisis here in the United States. Kids are getting shot up in schools every freaking day, and you'd rather send money to freaking Ukraine and a corrupt government that's committing fraud. Good job, Joe Biden. I mean, that's a president. That's the dictatorship. I correctly use that dictatorship that we're trying to be controlled by. Now, take all that. What are we doing for Hawaii? Send them a couple mil? Oh, we're going to put FEMA in place. Oh, good, great. You're going to enforce martial law and freaking there. Whoop-de-doo. It's been done in other places. I mean, it's what it is. Yeah. They go over there. Oh, we're gonna secure this. What, by the Coast Guard? Yeah. In case you haven't figured out, with the Coast Guard, they freaking deal with water. You know, you want control, chaos in the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to say, you know, the Army, whatever. I'm not trying to sit here and dictate. I am being a little smart there, because what it is nothing against other branch service. These things are a joke, and everybody in the United States knows it's a joke. You come in to guard so a house don't get looted. What the hell is there? Let's be fair to the situation, not to make light of anything. What the hell is there to loot? Everything burned to the ground, according to what you said. So why are they there? They're there to what? Rebuild? You don't own a construction company? You ain't there to what? To control them? Yeah, I've seen how the government does stuff. You want to do stuff, go control the borders. Y'all can't even control the borders, and you want to try to now go to Hawaii and say, oh, we're gonna provide FEMA for what?
Well, and Red Cross.
Fraud?
Yeah.
All the people that commit fraud with the government organizations, we know that happens because you're sending it to Ukraine. You see, this is crap. What I'm summarizing here, the federal government ain't doing their part.
And that's the thing. So they're already doing internal investigations on basically the procedures and how they handled this emergency situation as it started to happen. Like, why didn't they tell people, warn them?
Let's talk about how the government handled it. How did Joe Biden handle that freaking thing from the very beginning?
Oh, no comment.
Yeah,
is Joe Biden's response when asked about what is going on in Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, screw what FEMA's doing. Screw it. Let's talk about the government. See what the government's doing here. So Joe Biden says, say it again. He said, so Joe Biden's called on the carpet. Hey, you've been out of town chilling and flying all over the world, probably doing Hunter Biden's freaking affairs. We don't know that. Yeah, but he's flying around doing something, you know, whatever. But he comes back to the United States. But put it this way. Here's my thing. He was in a foreign country, United States of America, literally burning to the ground. How come he wasn't here?
All right. I'll role play. I'll be Joe Biden. You be like Peter Ducey from Fox News. He's like the guy Biden hates.
Yeah, the one. No, I mean, but that's my question. Like, all you get to do is just stand there and do nothing. At the most, you can fall out of your seat on the floor and then, I was sandbagged. You think I'm making this crap up? But that's what he said. He falls out. So let me set the stage for that. He's, you know, some type of graduation, whenever he trips over, it's a military thing. Yeah. And of all the things the President of the United States say, because he trips, I was sandbagged. I'm like, what? You spill your cup of tea? You were teabagged? By who?
Yeah. Wait, what's that? It's like,
I mean,
hey man, you know how he has like those little, like he's got like a few little ones that he said, hey man, I think it's that, man, or come on.
Yeah, he's going to be the next. Was it the NPC? We talked about that last week. The
NPCs.
Yeah, and probably. Either way, you know. So he refused to acknowledge this. You know, and the thing of it is, my thing is, the President of the United States is out of country. I mean, I get it. You know, like you're there.
No,
stuff
he's
happens
here in the States
now, but he wasn't then. You get your butt on a freaking plane and you get back here and deal with your country first.
Yep.
That's what should have happened. Not sit there and play around and your vacation. I don't care what you're doing. You're the President of the United States for 4 years. You can sacrifice 4 years of your life like many other people's done for their country. I don't have a freaking choice. Not as in the Marine Corps. There's a dang war that needs fought. You go. You don't have a choice. Say, well, I think I'll go on vacation. Well, that can tend to when I get back. You know, whatever. And this is not a war. I mean, I get that. What I'm saying is you have priorities, you have things you need to deal with, and the President of the United States was out of country. Again, I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with is when you're notified, you get your butt back here and tend to things. And to this date, unless that's changed as of today, he hasn't even been to Hawaii yet.
And see, that's actually one of the things I was going to bring up. So number one, in regards to that Ukraine aid, the biggest issue I have with it is you're right, they're investigating fraud over there for the people who were stealing money. But next to that, Joe Biden wants to send another $24 billion with no oversight, with no audit of any of the money we're sending.
Sure.
And it's like, oh yeah, because it's money laundering. Because you're asking the question of like, well, hey, why aren't we putting that money towards like the wall or healthcare or better security at schools? It's because we don't actually have the money. I don't know exactly how this is playing out, but I'm telling you,
check Hunter Biden's bank account.
Yeah.
And all he's got to do is be like, all he's got to do is this. Like, I wasn't in there for that weather report.
Yeah, right.
We were talking about the weather.
Yeah, no, not that day.
That foreign dignitary didn't call me. We were talking about the weather at the White House that day. Yeah.
I've never talked to my son about business.
Regardless, man, we're sending. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't necessarily be involved in that, which, again, I've said my opinion on that. I think we need to take care of our home front first, and he has failed to do that as President of the United States. He wasn't here. He should have been. I don't care what is going on. There's nothing that pressing. You shouldn't have been here for your people.
And I agree with you 100%. Like, I feel like as the commander-in-chief, even if you're old as hell and you probably can't make it because, you didn't get juiced up today to walk, it is horrible to see the president just say no comment. Because I feel like you don't have to be trained by any press person, like, how they always have PR handlers and stuff like that. You don't have to be trained to know this was a tragedy. Please keep Hawaii in your thoughts and prayers. There, Joe Biden. I just did it for you. And the fact that he can't even do that.
I can't get off the fact is because being in the military myself, I just can't get past that. I mean, like, you're the boss, man. You're the boss of the United States. I mean, I understand you don't call the shots, but you're the man. You're supposed to represent the United States. We got a women's soccer team right now under scrutiny for some not singing national anthem, some not covering their heart, some not staying, whatever. I mean, and I'm only saying that just a little categorization here. And people are crapping on them. And I'm not picking sides on this. I'm going to have my opinion on that. But I'm like, here, the President of the United States, something happens, a major disaster, catastrophe in the United States, and he's out of country, and nobody's saying anything.
Well, people are starting to call him out online, but that's the thing is
he's handling this crap. The reason,
the
second reason is he's handling this like his, and I know I made some pun jokes there at Hunter, but that's there's kind of a reason for that, and the reason I've said those things is because he's handling a major disaster in the United States like he's saying. Well, I have no comment on that. Well, I understand that because you're your son. You don't want him to go to prison. It's damn right. You shouldn't have a comment either because you're probably going to indict yourself.
Yep.
But you're saying the same thing now that people whose lives are lost. You're saying, "Oh, I have no comment. I have no comment." Like, really?
On a natural disaster.
You have basically a free airline ticket to anywhere in the world, and you can't get your plane, Air Force One, to fly to Hawaii? Like, what do you got to do? Go to your freaking secret military base and hide more top secret documents and forget about them? Like, what's so damn important that you can't go deal with the people that you're supposed to represent?
No, and look, I think you're 100% right on that. The sad part is that the last news I heard about Joe Biden and his whereabouts is he's on his way to Lake Tahoe to do some more vacationing.
Yeah.
And that's sad because, like you said, come on. How hard is it to get on a plane and go shake some people's hands that just had their entire livelihood?
Yeah, I mean, especially in his case, I could take this a bunch of different directions however I wanted to take it because, it's just fact. But if I was in his shoes, knowing that I'm probably going to get my ass handed to me in the next election, I would be trying to kiss people's butts for votes. And right now, Hawaii would be a good place to do it.
No. I mean,
I think
not if you think the election's already won.
I think it's. We could get into that on another episode too. But personally, I think I think personally right now, since you dropped the question, prelude to podcast probably next week, the week after, or week after that, is I think this election is going to be rigged. And again,
this election,
it might be rigged too. He might have to take it. At his age, he might have to take something for that. I don't know. Ask his son. Check his laptop. Yeah. Hey, everything's mail order these days.
Yeah.
Probably his bride too.
Yeah, Blue Chew. Shout out.
So, you look at these things of what's came out here recently. Is like the Democrats have came out I can't remember what state. Maybe they come out and we've got all these new voting, regulations in line, and this is going to be harder to cheat. And well, this is what the Democrats. This is not a Republican. This is what the Democrats are saying. Well, y'all were the one that was whenever this election happened said everything was fine to
safe
begin
and
with.
Secure, baby.
So what are you trying to protect?
Yep.
Something that wasn't broken, or are you trying to rig the system?
Even more.
Possibly. Or they're trying to prevent something. I mean, it's really shady when everything was just fine according to them, and now all of a sudden they're having all these laws come into play to protect the voting. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as they're legitimate. So I'm saying, and then you've got all this other stuff with Trump going on. Again, how much of it you believe, I don't know, but there is pieces of it that I kind of believe. I believe that, state my opinion on this, I don't believe that Trump lost for voter fraud. Did voting fraud happen during that election? Yes.
Okay, so you're saying you think he lost, like legitimately, didn't get as many votes as Joe Biden.
Yes.
But there definitely was voter fraud
Yes.
taking place.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
And that's fair. I mean, I got to admit, like, I go a little bit harder than that just because of, like, it's so strange the way the election worked out. And, like, you see these clips and videos of, like, what should be normal procedure not being followed. And it's a little bit strange. Now, I mean, I feel like that's a topic for another day. And I still have faith in the American election system for now. I think after this next one, if Joe Biden won again, I'd lose all faith because there's no way Democrat, Republican, he gets 81 million votes again. No way. But I did want to, like, I guess, kind of wrap this up with people, look, it's coming. The smart cities in America, the 15-minute prisons, because that's actually what they're going to be, is coming. And Hawaii is going to be the first one. What you'll see is, the tragedy, oh man, we need to build back better. And what they're going to do is, hey, let's go with this renewable energy plan that we already had in the works. Let's go ahead and start it now because, hey, there's nothing here to tear down. It's already gone. Right. And so I think America's about to see its first smart city in Hawaii, in this Maui, Lahaina, be prepared is all I'm going to say because I think it's coming. I think it's coming faster than anybody realizes. I think Agenda 2030 is real. And I guess last thing I would leave people with is it a coincidence that next month Hawaii is going to have their digital government plan? Long story short, they're trying to use technology to make the government more functional, but it just seems very ironic that this topic about smart cities and stuff like that is happening just a month after the place burns down.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
it's going to be hard. I have to
do your research.
The people stand up against this stuff. I mean, the thing of it is, like I was saying, with these other stupid little videos floating around, people buy into it, and they're like, yeah, it was a direct energy weapon. Well, the same thing applies for these other little conspiracies and what the government's going to do or what. How many people buy into it? Because the thing of it is, there's still a lot of old school. I say old school and new school. Like, I'm not getting on board with that. The old school, and there's new school is like, y'all are shady as hell. I ain't getting on that either. So,
well, here's what I'll say.
I don't know.
think it wasn't directed energy weapons, but I 1,000% believe it was weather modification.
Yeah, well, they burned down Hawaii to say, oh, it's affecting global warming now.
Coincidentally, they're blaming this on climate change. And
yeah, well, they've been saying that crap here too for years. It's like,
but here's what I'll say. Remember, a couple of years ago, there was a guy on CNN who was like, or maybe it was about a year ago now, but he, like a CNN exec, producer, whatever, gets on camera because he thinks he's talking to some chick on a date, but he's actually being recorded, and he says, hey, after COVID's over, climate change is the next thing. And now here we are. Climate change is being pushed.
Well, I know that there's a definitely a trend and order in those things. The race thing is a dead topic for right now. It's still out there. I mean, it's not completely
they still
dead.
Use it all the time.
LGBTQ had some momentum. That one's kind of falling out. Don't get me wrong. They're still there, and there's still a good avenue for somebody to bring up things. So you had race was a big thing. And after that, LGBTQ. Religion started playing a little bit. The only thing, that's about the only big one left. And so these things have cycled through because the only thing that's coming down the pipeline now is what next government thing that's going to happen that's going to basically end the world. That typically is in a cycle somewhere too.
Like the central digital banking currency.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had, of course, not exactly the same, but Y2K, that's date myself, but that's been several years ago. But these things